Today's a very historic day. It's Sea Shepherd's 10th Antarctic Whale Defence Campaign, and over the years the support and strength of the organisation has definitely grown. In the very early days when the Sea Shepherd went down, the Farley Mowat, it was quite a slow moving vessel, and even if it did find the whaling fleet, generally it couldn't keep up and the whaling fleet was disappearing over the horizon. Nowadays there's up to 4 vessels that head down. This year it'll be 3, and it's incredible the support that Sea Shepherd has got over the years from not only the Australian public but people right around the world. And it's a real, you know, from the days of dumpster diving to the now where we've got mums, dads coming down with carloads full of fresh fruit and vegetables to help provision the crew and supply them, and doctors, lawyers, engineers, tradespeople, you know, school groups and scouts and girl guides, all here supporting the vessels, getting them ready to take on the defence of the whales and the Southern Ocean whale sanctuary. I may add that you know, back in 2003 an Australian customs vessel went after a Uruguayan flagged Patagonian toothfish poacher in the Southern Ocean, in the same waters that Japan is hunting whales now. And the customs vessel chased the Uruguayan flag vessel all the way to South Africa, and the crew were grabbed and flown to Australia and prosecuted and arrested. Now, the Fisheries Minister at the time said that Australia's sovereignty was at stake and a rare and valuable species was also being poached. So why is it okay for the Australian government to go over a Uruguayan flag vessel that's poaching a toothfish, and not okay to go after a Japanese flagged vessel poaching an endangered whales in the Southern Ocean whale sanctuary in contempt of an Australian federal court ruling? We need a customs vessel down there to stop the killing of whales in the Southern Ocean whale sanctuary. Also, Japan has been escalating their violence every year. They've rammed and sank our ships, they've thrown concussion grenades, they almost sunk the vessel, the Bob Barker, last year. Each of the vessels sustained quite high damage, the Sam Simon, the Steve Irwin and the Bob Barker, from this massive factory floating slaughterhouse, the Nishimaru. We need a customs vessel down there to monitor and tell these poachers from Japan to leave Australia's Antarctic whale sanctuary and kick them out for good. The one thing that I guess you look at is that you know, over the years the strength of Sea Shepherd has grown, not just in Australia but internationally, and standing behind each of these brave crew as they head down is people from all over the world that have donated their money, their time, their services. So although they may feel alone down there in the Southern Ocean, quite isolated from the world, know that there's thousands of people right around the world that stand with you guys, pushing you forward in defence of the great whales. And today's my daughter's birthday. She's 3 today, and I often tell her stories at night, and I tell her about the naughty people that want to hurt the whales. Well, the naughty people are on their way down, and Sea Shepherd will be the only thing that stands between them and these magnificent whales of the Southern Ocean whale sanctuary. And thank God for Sea Shepherd, and thank God for these brave crew that'll be heading down to the Southern Ocean whale sanctuary.
Well, it's good to see that Sea Shepherd has 3 ships now, and that the only thing that stands between the whaling fleet and the whales being killed is us. Over the last 10 years, we've gone down each year stronger, and this year we finally got a fleet that can match the Japanese whaling fleet. We've got 3 ships to match 5 of their ships, and we're committed to putting our lives on the line and taking whatever it takes to non-violently but directly intervene and save the lives of the whales. As Jeff mentioned, and your Federal Environment Minister of Australia has made a statement that he needs 10 days to commit to how he will be monitoring the whale hunt, and we hope it's via a customs vessel coming down. And if a customs vessel does come down, it makes Sea Shepherd's job in the Southern Ocean redundant. We can go ahead and look after other parts of the ocean because it's an Australian federal court ruling that prohibits or bans the Japanese whaling fleet from being down there. And their presence, our customs vessels' presence down in the Southern Ocean is only going to strengthen that ruling and make sure that the whaling fleet does not continue to breach and openly flout Australian law, as well as many international conservation laws. This year we've got 101 crew members from 24 nationalities, so it's really a combined effort from all across the world. We've got people from South America to Asia to Europe, and a lot of Australians on the crew this year as well. And the whaling season generally lasts until the end of March. So when we leave today, we'll be there until we drive the whaling fleet out, which could be sometime during March or as late as the end of March if they continue to evade us. So it's a long haul. It takes a lot of preparation, a lot of effort, and a lot of sacrifice for the crew to be down there in those frigid waters for over 100 days. The Japanese aim to take 1,035 whale, of which there's 50 fin and 50 humpback whales, both of which are endangered. And I often relate to that being from India as being the fin whales are exactly like the tigers. They're on the same endangered list, and you wouldn't stand a poacher walking into a national park and shooting a tiger. Why do we allow that to happen with the whales? They're both endangered animals, and we need to give them the same degree of protection.
There's also science that have come out recently where the minke whales that are being targeted are actually minke whales that are born off the Australian coast. One was recently tagged up off the Great Barrier Reef, and one of these minke whales, the scientists nicknamed as Spot. And there's been, people all over the world and Australians that have been swimming and eyeballing Spot each year. And now he's heading down to the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary and will be confronted with a massive harpoon ship bearing down on him and his family. And they'll be swimming up to 16, 17 knots to try and evade these harpoon ships before they could be hit with an explosive harpoon from these cannons. And the only thing that stands between the Japanese whaling fleet and that whale, Spot, and other ones like him is Sea Shepherd.
When you sign up with Sea Shepherd to go down and save the whales, you sign up saying that you're willing to risk your life to save the whales. And I think that has been put to test multiple times over the past few years. Last year, the captain of the Bob Barker actually put out a distress, which meant that he felt that his crew's lives were at risk. Picked up the radio and he called the captain of the Nishan Maru and told them that he would be responsible for the 35 lives on board the Bob Barker. And I think the fact that we're willing to stand up to that is that we're all, as captains, back on our ships and going down again, knowing that that happened to us last year. And that pretty much shows what we are committed for. We're willing to put our lives on the lines because there's something that is much bigger than just whaling at stake. It's all of Antarctica that needs to be looked after.
We were meant to set up earlier. We're having a little mechanical issue with the boat. We should have it fixed by tomorrow, no problem. And we'll still be on schedule to get down there and prevent the whaling this year. I feel really good about the ship, and the crew is fantastic. It's the best crew I've worked with. The ship is in great kit other than the little issue we have going right now, and I'm sure we'll get that sorted out and get all the engineers working on it. It's interesting when we found out we were going to go this year because, we all come down here to do this, and at the same time we all hope that we don't have to, that, the whaling fleet will stay in Japan and we'll get to take a year off. So I think when you find out you're going to go, it's a mixture of excitement and sort of sadness and, a reality of what it's like down there. I was down there last year, and it's pretty intense when the ships start bumping together. And obviously, the whalers are very aggressive in what they're doing down there, and so you're putting yourself at risk, but it's for a good cause. And at the same time, it's an honor to get to go down there. So it's mixed feelings when you leave, for sure.
For me to be just a small part of the Sea Shepherd organisation and to actually be here and to have a short trip on a very special boat is quite an honour for me. And I would love to take part in what these wonderful people are doing, but because of my age and certain other restrictions I can't do it. But I would like to say to the Australian government that most of those politicians and most people within Australia would have seen the terrible footage that's been taken of whale slaughter over the years. And I was fortunate enough to watch some on the Steve Irwin last year. And if our politicians have got any intelligence or sympathy whatsoever, they should give Sea Shepherd as much support as they can. And I would welcome the statement by Greg Hunt that there is a possibility that they're going to send down a ship to help out this year. And I think it's taken far too long for that to happen. Because let's all remember that this isn't about people. This is about the whales themselves. And we all know, all these very special people around here know that whatever we do to the environment, we actually eventually do to ourselves. And to witness the agony and the stress that those whales go through when they're harpooned is something that I wouldn't want to wish on any future generations. You asked a difficult question for me to answer at the moment. It's a very special time for me. It's been something like 7 years now, and I don't really think I'll ever get over